Hello, Jasco, and this is the Exploring Environment, where I look at the world of games and tell you what I've noticed that you might not have. This time, we're going to be looking at Resident Evil 1, the remake that is. Let's get started. At the very beginning, when you're choosing difficulties, we see this piece of paper that says at the top here, such may make arrests, carry firearms, conduct investigations, and perform other law enforcement duties as provided by the federal law and regulations. But the interesting thing is the text below. If you find this message and it's intended for someone else, contact the sender or destroy the email message. There's also signed Umbrella Pharmaceuticals down here. And then the bottom text says, please note the Umbrella Pharmaceuticals at all times to keep its network full of viruses. Which is a weird thing to say. And they tell you to scan the attachments all the time, and Umbrella is not responsible for what happens when you get the attachment. I couldn't find what this painting was called, but you can find it on Etsy for $12, so if you want it, here you go. It's called the Two Swordman Print. I noticed this about a lot of the zombies in the mansion, but they have no shoes. I don't know if that's a thing, like when you're in the building, just take your shoes off and no socks. Or maybe the zombies that don't have shoes are the captured criminals or test subjects the Umbrella scientists are experimenting on. They could have also outgrew their shoes when the zombie virus took over, expanded, and it broke through the shoes. If you notice, the stars have their own specially made pistols that were made by Joseph Kendo, the guy who owned the shop in Raccoon City. The gun is called the Beretta 92F or the M92F Samurai Edge. It's a very similar design. All I can see is a picture of a moose or a cow on this save data screen, and everything else is unreadable. Residents were held up against a wall while this scientist zombie injected them or watched them for any signs of infection. Not the actual zombie, but the scientist from Umbrella. This blue gemstone, how much would this actually cost in reality? If a 6mm gemstone cost $1,890, and this gemstone was about 5 or so inches, so that would be 127 millimeters. Should cost around $40,000 if it was a real gemstone, that is. This graveyard is a bunch of graves that seem to be written in Greek letters. However, they're randomized letters, so none of the words actually make any sense. And some of them seem to be reversed as well, or I should say mirrored, like the other gravestones. This one has Greek alphabet letters on it, like Alpha, Omega, Lambda. I was wondering while I was playing this, why are all the zombies so much taller than Chris? They're all like, Chris is I think 5'11" if I remember correctly. The zombies are like 7 feet tall, or at least 6 feet. The Book of Curses reminds me of the bloodborne creatures that you can buy stuff from the shop, so I don't know where the inspiration came from first. I think Bloodborne came out after. I was looking at the carpets in this building, and why couldn't I just buy a longer carpet in some areas? Why'd they buy like 5 or 6 on the floor? It just felt like a decorating error. This door that you open, the peek hole isn't visible on the animation as it is in front of you, so you might be seeing a closed hatch on the animation side. Coming back to this area, we see the zombies gone, the scientist zombie, and there's a bunch of crows above too. I don't think we see the zombie on this floor at all, so I don't know where he went. He couldn't have gone upstairs, the doors are all closed. He's not downstairs, so maybe he got taken by something. You meet the zombie in the closet, you can actually block him with the shelf or the dresser, and he can't get over for some reason. Some oversized toilet paper for you. It could be a perspective thing, but it looks like the rolls are way too big. Maybe there's like 100 or more extra sheets or something. I just found that interesting for some reason. Now, was this zombie hiding in the water, or did the guy jump in the water and then die and turn into a zombie? But why would he go in the water to hide and then he drowned? Well, he has injuries on his body already that were given to him by something, probably another zombie. It really bothered me that the floor here doesn't match itself. Like it's going vertically and horizontally. They should have just made it one way. I was trying to read this bag, and at the top here it says, for one viewer, I go down the whole bag, so from top to bottom. For one viewer in Eros, Earth, Besir. And I have no idea what the rest of this says. I'm pretty sure it's randomized letters. I wonder what happened to this glass on the wall here. Was this a mirror supposed to reflect the hallway, or was it like a painting in there covered by a glass protection layer or something like that? It looks like an impact layer at the top left, so it's shattered. Maybe a creature hit it, or a bullet from one of the STARS members. This desk has a few interesting things on it. The book on the bottom here looks very similar to the Book of Curses from earlier. The small medicine bottles there, the caps look way too small to actually get anything out of it. So it could be liquid, but that'd be kind of a weird bottle for liquid. There's also a photo on the desk of like family members, but it looks like it's in like a form of a painting, like a old painting that you'd see like in a museum. So I don't think those are family members, or maybe they might be, but it's kind of a weird photo. In the kitchen here we see a bunch of rotting meat. So is this meat rotting before the attack? Or they were serving this to the creatures? Or was it like, or did the attack happen such a long time ago that the meat started to rot? That would have been maybe more than 4 or 5 days, but it's completely black almost. So it could have been weeks by now. And also this pot right here is about half the size of Chris, and he would not be able to lift that up if it was full. A really creepy photo of either a spider, parasite, or a mite. I have no idea, it's weird. And on the left I found this cool modern art photo of a line. Probably get you millions in today's market. Kind of weird someone hung a photo like this on the middle of this pillar right here. Like what kind of psychopath would do that? This could easily get knocked over. Such interesting drawings on the wall here. It looks to be like the 1700s, judging by the hat and clothing. And like hunting pheasants or pheasants or eagles. Maybe it's them coming to the Americas, the New World, discovering all the spoils, I guess you'd say. Found it interesting that Chris puts this wooden slab on this heated outline up here to make a map. And then Chris is going to carry this around on him. It's about the size of his torso. It's just Chris walking around the mansion with a giant briefcase-sized map around his waist. The person in this room seemed to have a drinking problem. Or you'd think that, until you read the note on the desk there that talked about all the pain he was going through. Because he was infected with the virus. And so he was transforming. In order to fix that, he would drink a lot in order to get rid of the pain, and he would actually start taking drugs on the desk there. The blue gem we picked up earlier seems to shrink sizes in order to fit inside the eye of this tiger. There's a STARS member named Forrest who you can find outside with Chris when exploring the mansion, or I guess Jill as well. And after you beat the game, you get this game mode that lets Forrest walk around as a zombie, but the thing is he has a bandolier strap on him. And he will chase you and try to attack you. How are these statues moving when there's no tracks on the floor, no cables, no strings? What is powering them exactly? There's a note from Wesker. He left some ammo and healing equipment for you. Because, you know, he's a nice guy, trying to helping out the team. Why is this insect on the left called a fly? It looks like a moth, or a close-up butterfly. Is that insect I don't know about called a fly? Can you see how big this insect is compared to Chris's head? And would you seriously grab something that big that could easily sting through your hand? And why didn't Chris stomp on it when he threw it on the ground? That's what I would have done. I just wanted to compare heights here. Chris is apparently 4'11", according to the wiki. For Rebecca is apparently 5'3" according to Wiki. So apparently that's 8 inches between the two, and I'm not gonna lie, it looks like a little bit more than 8 inches. Maybe closer to a foot. I was playing without sound, and I was walking down this hallway, and the zombies scared the crap out of me. There's so many spider webs in this room, but no spiders anywhere to be seen. There's also like animals or parts of people hung up in cocoons. The interesting thing is there's a giant snake in here, and I'm guessing the snake might have ate all the spiders since it's hunting them. That's my theory. There's some examples of the reverse gravestones here I was talking about earlier. And how did they get the crimson zombie in the coffin? Do zombies get affected by tranquilizer darts? Did they have to lure him in there? I want to talk about how interesting these crows' eyes look. They have so much detail. They look like they took real photos of crows and put them over the model. Looks like Lisa misses Chris here, and Chris has to act like he was knocked out by her. You actually notice Lisa's wearing a bunch of faces that she thinks looks like her mom, and on her body you can actually see a bunch of faces as well. That little creepy detail. Here's a bathtub apparently filled with water, but I'm looking at the bathtub. It looks like there's no water in there, unless the water's like super crystal clear. This guy really liked living here. He had a welcome mat in front of his door and everything. Upstairs in the labs, or I guess where the sharks are being kept, the letters A644-1 are written on the floor. Can't find any meaning to it, but I'm guessing that's just the facility name or the research name. Why would the facility design this gap here so you can't get over? There's no ladder, there's no staircase, there's no weird bridge you can drop down. It just seems like a design flaw in the facility. It's powering this dashboard. There's all the controls. There's no wires connected to it. It's not attached to anything. You can just push it over. The generator's attached to the device, or it's setting power to it, but how is it really doing that? The shotgun, it's called the assault shotgun in this game, but it looks just like the shotgun in Resident Evil 4, but it's called the riot shotgun in that game. This guy got stung like crazy by those bees. Looks to be like only a few stings too. He might have been allergic to it. Or maybe the virus changed the venom in order to be more potent. Who is Wesker shooting at here? We don't see anyone in the shot when we look down the hallway. There's another lovely note from our leader, Wesker. What a nice man that guy is. Here's one of the MO discs you need to get the best ending in the game. There are other conditions like saving Rebecca, saving Jill, but you need this in order to save Jill. You know, just a random jar holding what seems to be human organs, suspended in some kind of green liquid. In the same room with the organs, we see this interesting map of the Earth, and I'm wondering, could it be like migration patterns for animals? Or since it looks like Illinois is very heavily concentrated, maybe they're showing umbrella facilities with the headquarters in the United States being in Chicago, which is in Illinois. I'm guessing that might be it. One of the conditions for getting the best ending is to save Rebecca, so when you hear this scene, you should go and help her. After you take the hunter down, you save Rebecca, and then you should be good to go until later on.
Until then, Rebecca, you're on your own. Stay cool and use your better judgment. Got it?
I can handle myself.
The large snake, the boss snake, is a species of adder, but when I looked it up, I could not find any American adder species. The other species is usually a European or Asian snake. The closest thing I could find was the eastern hog-nosed snake, which is commonly mistaken as an Adler snake. This puzzle I struggled the most with, since you had to push this statue onto the black square, and I did that multiple times, but every time I did, it wouldn't work. But apparently you had to push it past it a little bit. It's just such a weird thing to get stuck on. Just want to point out how I sniped the zombie all the way across the hallway, which is insane for me. Interesting thing I looked up here. Car batteries don't typically have a blue terminal in the United States, it's usually black. However, in some Asian countries and European ones, there's rare cases of a blue terminal. Also on the same thing with the battery's power supply doesn't get hooked into the battery because the terminal coverings are still on here, so I don't know what's powering the elevator. Wraithful calls us a double crosser here because he saw us with Wesker talking, so he assumes we are with him. But Chris mistakenly thinks he's talking about someone else. Wesker was actually the one shooting at him earlier, so if you didn't put the pieces together. There are a lot of bodies strung up in this area. It looks like 4 human bodies and a bunch of smaller animal bodies. On the bottom right here, there's actually a few mixed in at the top with the human bodies too. In the same room you find that, the spider boss, there's a knife with the word Ayama on it, and I can't find any reference to it, so if you know, let me know. The boulder scene that has in this game, I was running away and the camera switched from running forward to backwards. The camera control is basically inversed, and it got me killed, and I just find it amazing they made it that way. It was really hilarious at the time. And by hilarious, I mean it wasn't. It was annoying as shit. Down in the caves where Lisa's patrolling, you can find this corner where if you climb the boxes, you can find this ammo. Cool little developer trick here is to block the top part with the camera so it's not showing. That way you don't have to actually make the movement system. It could just be floating in thin air and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Came upon this creepy ass doll room down here. But the most interesting things were these musical chairs set up going to the ceiling. I have no idea why, but that was the interesting thing that caught my eye, besides the dolls that are staring at the screen. Seems like every time we run into Wesker, he's shooting at something. Just found that interesting. Once Lisa gets her mother's remains back, she jumps off the side. I guess once she realizes her mom's gone, she couldn't take it anymore. But apparently Lisa survives this fall and chases Wesker to the mansion. See a scientist zombie here. It looks like he was attacked on the back and the arms. So he wasn't infected through the air, so he must have been attacked by some creature. In that same area, we could find the second ammo disc for Jill's containment. This room has blood splatter on the floor. It looks like someone was killed and fell on the ground. And it must have been a slash mark because there's blood on the wall as well, so they must have been fell from the table there from whatever they were experimenting on, fell on the ground. Either were dragged away, or they got up and started crawling away as a zombie. We see a bunch of hairless zombies back here, possibly candidates for the Tyrant project or DNA samples for the other projects in the facility. Your screen tells us about the plants that are found in the Arklay Mountains, specifically the herbs, the red, green, and blue ones. Apparently they're native to this area. The cool umbrella surgeon I see. And judging by the umbrella logo on his chest, they were not afraid to be seen being known, I guess just say, working for Umbrella. This is the first disc reader we find. You need to put the disc in here in order to activate the door that opens up where Jill is contained, or I guess Chris, if you're playing as Jill. And this is the last ammo disc you need in order to open up the door. There's a cool little slideshow you can find for creatures in the museum. We also have code names or numbers, which I don't really know what they mean, besides the Tyrant with the T002, so the second version of the Tyrant, versus Cerberus, which is the dog, Cerberus being the three-headed dog of hell. Neptune is the god of the sea, or the shark. Hunter, I'm guessing it just means a creature that hunts. I can't really figure out what the meaning behind that one is. Here's a picture of these scientists that worked on all the projects. Some of them could have been, and on the right we see Wesker with his iconic glasses all the time and his gloves for some reason he's wearing on one hand. Video of Kenneth as he's getting attacked by a singular zombie. For some reason he doesn't try to run away or anything.
Get away from me! No! Hey! No!
That this is a disgusting creature since it's apparently a mix between a human and a fly. The way they made these creatures was implanting it in a embryo in a human woman. I'm guessing it hatched inside her. And then they cloned that creature over and over again. So the first version of that was really messed up. Here's the second disc reader you need to use in order to open the true ending door. This is the last ammo reader need for the ending. This room seems to be holding a bunch of bigger organs or something, or maybe it looks like they're mutated flesh, possibly Tyrant experiments, or they could be parts of the other experiments like the insects or the hunters. This is actually where you can rescue Jill. After opening all three of these, you go down and open the door and find her down there. This will help you get the true ending in the game.
Jill?
Chris!
You're okay.
Chris, it's Wesker.
I know. But first, let's get out of here.
I always wondered why they had this fuse box that you had to pick up and put inside the wall. Is this so you don't have as much ammo, or is it just to add a gameplay element? Could I just have a button you could press? I just wanted to point out Jill gets hit full force by his hand right here, the one with the claws on it. All this blood comes out, but then we see Jill and she has no scratches on her.
I can handle myself.
When Tyrant hits me right here, it's swinging to the right. Chris seems to spin to his left when he's hit. This was such an awkward exchange between the Tyrant and me. He was just standing there while I was struggling to breathe. I guess just trying to choke the life out of me. But he just let me throw a grenade at his feet. Tyrant seems to just stand there while the rocket flies towards him. That's it for game Resident Evil 1. It was a different experience for me since I've never actually played this one. So I had to figure things out more on my own here. I also could have missed a lot of things because there'd be a lot of areas that are locked and I would not have known about it. Anyway, if you noticed something I didn't or need to tell me about an area I missed, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I will move on to the next game. I will see you later.